Missouri.
I had to
Yes.
learn that was a question. That was one of those things.
Yes. St. Louis, Missouri. Yo, what's up, beautiful people? It
Hey,
is time. It is time. It is time. Hey, guys, listen. If you are in for some financial education, you are in the right place, man. So go ahead and get the watch party started. We're about 90 seconds out from officially getting started. You are tuning in to the Extra Digit Movement Wealth-a-thon finale. So we're about to get this thing started, man. Super excited. I am H. Cortez, um, proud member of the Extra Digit Movement, and here to help you understand a few things, man. When it comes to money, what you think about money, what you believe about money dictates how you behave with money. And it's not your fault, man, that some of us have been taught to believe and think the wrong way about money. So we're going to help fix some of that, man. And I've got an illustrious panel here with me tonight. I'm going to introduce you guys to these folks, but go ahead and set up your watch party. I'm going to set up mine right now. Don't be afraid to ask your questions in the chat. We're going to help you guys tonight, man. And if you're like me, I've always thought about legacy, right? But this time that we're in has got me thinking even more about legacy and the mark that I want to leave on this world and exactly how I'm going to go about doing that. And for me, I have been introduced to a way to do that more strategically. So give us about 45 more seconds and it's going down, man. I'm super excited to be here representing the Extra Digit Movement.
sorry about that. Sorry about that.
All right. And let me see if I can set up a watch party really, really quickly. Hey, while you guys are coming on, man, do me a huge favor, man. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And, you know, why are you serious about building wealth? Let's start there, man, because believe it or not, everybody ain't serious about that thing. Some people say they are. And I've actually heard people tell me that when it comes to building wealth, they are proud of the fact that they're going to force their children to start over because, in their words, nobody did nothing for me. Ain't nobody gave me nothing. So my kids gonna have to start from scratch and claw and fend. Man, let me see who we got tuning in with us. So we see Frankie. All right. Okay. Hampton, Georgia. Atlanta, GA in the building. Okay. I see you guys tuning in from all over the world, man. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing started, man. And hopefully by the end of the night, you'll know that building wealth is not only possible, but it's probable for you if you understand the right strategies and principles. So you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to wrap up what has been a wonderful week of what we call a wealth-a-thon, and that is bringing practical, proven wealth-building strategies to all of you out there in Facebook land and wherever this may be streamed and embedded. For those of you who do not know me, my name is H. Cortez, also known as the one and only financial health mentor. And I'm extremely proud to be before you tonight because I represent an organization founded by a dear friend, coach, and mentor. And this guy has put together something special that has transformed my life forever, but not only my life, through this transformation of myself personally, it has also transformed the lives of my children. So I don't know how well you know the causes of your struggles financially and what most people are going through. Even before this global pandemic that we're experiencing, a lot of people found themselves struggling financially. Somewhat of 78% of people are living check to check, right? 90% of people are struggling with debts out the wazoo, man. But now, if you think about what's going on today, right? People are at home. People who are working in the restaurant industry have no job to go through, right? There's only so many people that can be in the kitchen. So I know the kitchens are still open, but a lot of the wait staff, a lot of the servers, a lot of the people who are bringing food and deliveries and stuff, all of that stuff has changed the way that we look at the economy that we are in, and it's having a dramatic effect on us all. So what we want to do, unlike the traditional media, is talk all about the problems and how bad it's got to get before it gets better. We want to offer some practical solutions to help you in the area of your finances. And I think if you can solve some of those problems, you'll also see that a lot of other areas in your life will be solved. So the premise of our wealth-a-thon is basically around the 4 things that everybody needs help with. If you are in this country and you work a job, then chances are you're overpaying taxes. So you need to understand how the tax code affects you. If you are in this country, you know that we have been socially conditioned to accept debt as a reality. You need answers for that. So we're going to introduce you to my co-host tonight and talk specifically about what they were able to do to transform their lives financially in 4 key areas. So without further ado, we're going to talk about that one challenge called taxes, otherwise known as the chainsaw massacre, right? We all have seen our checks and we're looking at the gross amount and we're looking at the net amount and we're like, that's gross, right? And most people don't realize there's something they can do about that. So I'm going to bring to you guys my first guest. This young lady is in the industry that happens to be on the front lines of all of this stuff, man. So mad respect for her for what she does for a living, but also a greater deal of respect for her for what she's able to do financially because of some information that she got a hold of and she acted on. So let me introduce to some and present to others, Miss Felicia McCoy. How you doing, sis?
I am doing great and happy to be here to share this information with you guys. Thank you,
Awesome.
Cortez, for that beautiful introduction. And as Cortez said, my name is Felicia McCoy. I am from Bridgeport, Connecticut. I'm a nurse by trade, and I'm an entrepreneur and many other things when I need to be as well. And this is one of the businesses that I am now fortunate to be a part of that has blessed me tremendously. People don't know how well it is until you actually participate and get involved in something that can really show you the way you can live. I've been fortunate enough to join this business of MWR Financial, and I was able to instantly give myself a pay raise. The one thing that we brag about so much was a tremendous help in my household, and I am blessed to be a part of it. So
Awesome.
for those of you
Do me a
that
favor
don't know,
really quickly, Felicia, if you can tilt your camera down just slightly. There we go. That is perfect. Now,
Okay.
let me go back to something you said, and I want you to give them a little bit of your background too. But you said you gave yourself an instant pay raise. You didn't say you asked your boss. You didn't say the company did well financially and just decided to bless everybody with a pay raise. You said you gave yourself a pay raise. So hit them with your background real quick, and then tell us exactly how Money Max helped you get that pay raise.
So I was able to join the business. I did exactly what I was told to do when I joined this business, which was simply upload my information. All I had to do was provide my 2 pay stubs to the system. I received a response back, and I received a wealth of income in, which has been a blessing. So for those of you who are new to this, we are here to help guide you and educate you on how to make your wealth real for real. I was able to just do with the simple steps of uploading my pay stubs. I sent it in. They sent me a form back asking me a few questions, which I responded to. The next thing you know, I had a brand new W-4. A lot of people don't realize what a W-4 is, but everybody who is employed, when you go get that job, you get a W-4 form to fill out so that you can or at the end of the year, you can get a W-2. Well, I have not filled out a W-4 form since I was hired over 4 years ago. I didn't know what they were taking out of my check. I wasn't paying attention. I know the taxes came out. I went to work and I got what I got. That ceased to exist for me when I joined MWR, because I was able to then realize how I can be a part of the Make Wealth Real movement and stop the taxation. I was able to put a kibosh on that to the point where I went from paying almost $400 biweekly to paying $22. And I say that proudly.
Awesome. Now, let me say this, guys, because we're going to tell you exactly what that amount turned out to be for her. But at the end of the day, this is not us saying that we as Americans don't want to do our part from a tax standpoint, right? That's not what we're saying. What we have come to find out through MWR Financial is that a lot of us are actually paying too much into the tax system based on our current situation. So this is not us trying to evade taxes. This is not us saying that we don't want to pay our part so we can drive on smooth roads, so we can have hospitals and police officers working for us, firemen. No, that's not what we're saying. What we're saying, though, is this. If you have not been educated on the fact that in America, there are two sets of tax codes, right? And you need to figure out which one will serve you better. And that's what Felicia was able to do. When we come back, I'm going to ask her, I'm going to let her reveal to you exactly how much of a pay raise she was able to give herself. You guys are not going to believe it. And then what she was able to do as a result. So taxes is one of those things that is crushing Americans. It is your largest expense. And then on top of that, you have the nerve to overpay into the tax system. So another one of those things that we see happening right now, right? We talked about people being laid off from jobs and things of that nature, hours cut. Well, guess what? Those bills still are coming around. So a lot of people are resorting to what they know best, right? If I don't have an income, I got this credit card and I'm going to use that to put food on the table, and you can't blame them in a time like this. However, we know that those credit cards could be crushing you financially, especially with a lot of people dealing with high interest rates. So what I want to do is introduce you to another panelist, and we're going to talk a little bit about Credit Max. This is the group of professionals that help this young man take his credit to the next level. So let me introduce to some and present to others my man, Javon Rowland. Can you hear me okay, Javon?
Yeah, I hear you, Cortez. You can hear me?
Yes, sir. Do me a quick favor, man. Go ahead and talk to people about who you are, a little bit about your background, and then what did the Credit Max team do for you?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on this Wealth-a-thon. And my name is Javon Rowland out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. A little bit about me. I work in the medical field, distributing the medicine to hospitals. So in other words, the hospitals don't get the medicine without me, the Pampers without me, the needles without me. So to Credit Max now, when I first used Credit Max back at the end of November, I linked up with the experts and I uploaded 3 of my credit reports as they told me to do. And then I sent it to them. And then the next morning I got an email from them saying that, hey, we started to work on your credit. So I was like, okay, this is serious right here. So 2 weeks later, I get an email and a notification saying that my credit score increased 100 points.
Wow. Wait a minute. We can't gloss over that, brother. I don't care where you're starting from. If your credit score jumps 100 points, that is a game changer, and that helps put you in a different situation tax-wise. Man, just tell me some of the emotions you felt when you saw that happen so quickly for yourself.
Man, I was like, at first I was like, man, they're for real. They not playing. They jumping on it as soon as you get them the information. It's like the sooner you get them the information, the sooner they'll work on it. So I was like, okay, man, this is for real. And that gave me an excitement because I know my credit score will be in the 800s in no time.
Gotcha. I love it, man. I love it. There's nothing like investing into yourself and then seeing almost immediate results, man. That is amazing. Now, when I'm going to let them marinate on this 100-point increase, right? But it gets even better than that. So I'm going to come back to Brother Javon here in a second, but 100 points, that is absolutely amazing. So we talked about taxes crushing you, right? Credit is another one of those things that we have to get control of, man. It affects so many areas of our lives, man. I want you to think about this. Eventually, the book I read tells me that this too shall pass, meaning this whole corona situation, right? Well, guess what? There's a lot of people who are now not employed as a result of this situation. No control of theirs. It wasn't they were bad employees. Companies not bringing any money. They got to do what they got to do. Some companies are not even coming back online after this. But what am I saying here? I'm saying that there's going to be millions of people in the job market looking for jobs. Do you guys realize that credit scores now play a huge part in the hiring decision? See, somebody right now is laid off their job. They can't wait till this is over because they've got the skills, they've got a good resume, and they're going to go back to work. But they don't realize that if that credit ain't right, that could be holding them back financially. So taxes, you got to do something about that, and you can. Credit, you've got to get control of that, and you can. Let's talk about another suffocating financial debilitation that a lot of people is struggling with, and that is debt, right? For this, I'm going to introduce you guys to a good friend, Mr. Richard Harden. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, but also break down what happened when you start dealing with the professionals over at Equity Max?
Brother Cortez, I'm glad to do it. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Man, it's so phenomenal. And I have to take a minute just to breathe and think about the things that the two previous speakers talked about and the impact that those things have had. But in my personal situation, I'm actually born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, went to school, got good grades, graduated top of my class at Douglas High School, and got an academic scholarship, went off to Duke University, double majored, electrical engineering, computer science. So had a high degree of math aptitude and got out into the workplace in the world of technology and actually the best place at the best time. So through my career, I've worked at some of the top technology companies, IBM, Salesforce, Oracle. All of those companies work with their software to help people transform their businesses. And what was ironic to me when I first joined MWR and started looking at the Equity Max process was for all the education I had, for all the technology I had access to, I had no access to financial education and technology that helped me transform my personal situation. So when I saw Equity Max, I already knew that we had a debt problem, meaning we had one of those great incomes that they let you buy stuff on time. And over time, my wife and I had accumulated a mortgage on our own home, a mortgage on some additional properties we bought as investments, and nearly $200,000 in student loans, putting our bold, beautiful, brilliant children through college.
Wow.
And so I started hitting that point of frustration where I was borrowing, every dollar that came in, I had going out. I wanted to get out of debt, but I was paying a lot in a lot of different directions. And I just plugged in my bills to Equity Max. Now, I'll be transparent. At the time that we started, we were $720,000 in debt.
Wow.
Right? And I didn't even know it. meaning I was just paying the bills as they came. I didn't have a plan, and anytime I had some more, I'd pay a little bit more to everybody else and still end up with the same amount left in my bank account. Right. So with Equity Max, I took all of my bills, and the first thing it did was focus me on a strategy of snowballing the debt. Over the course of the last year, we paid off $67,000 in credit cards, and you will not believe the debt window changed for me. Because not only that, because you think about it, we still owe money, and the money we owe, if I stayed on my creditor's plan, I'd be in debt till 2044. That's 24 years from now.
Wow.
But with the Equity Max plan, the money I make right now, this is assuming I don't make any raises or I don't get rich suddenly from the compensation plan or any of those things, just taking what I'm paying now. Mm-hmm. The plan put me in a place to be out of debt in the next 8 years, 24 down to 8. And they say in the book that I read that the borrower is servant to the lender. Yeah. If I had a choice of 24 more years of servitude and I can be debt free in 8 and on a plan to be a millionaire with the same money in 15, what would you do?
Hey man, listen. let me tell you this, brother. I blanked out when you said 67,000 in credit card debt in a single year. Man, that is phenomenal, brother. And I think sometimes people they underestimate the power of focus, right? A good guy that I know really well, he says it this way, that your dreams are free, but the focus is sold separately, right? So you had a dream to get out of debt, right? But the focus necessary to get a plan to make that happen was sold separately. And luckily, you were introduced to MWR Financial and you hooked up with Equity Max, man, and they are now got you on a plan that says you will be out of debt in 8 years versus 22. Listen, when we come back, you got to tell people how that makes you feel, man. That is amazing. So we're not done, y'all. Most people, that's enough. If we can get your taxes down, if we can get your debts down, if we can get your credit right, for most people, that's enough. But where is all of this going, though? Right? What is the end game here? And how can MWR Financial help with even that part? Well, it gives me a great deal of honor and pleasure to introduce my brother from my neighboring state, Chicago, Illinois, over here, right next to St. Louis, Missouri, man. This brother is an amazing husband, father, and coach and mentor, but he is also a product of the product. He is a practitioner of what we learn here, and he's going to talk to you briefly about what Wealth Max has been able to do for him and his family, and how it has laid the foundation for him to build a massive legacy for his. So, Mr. Don Wilson, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, Cortez. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear, brother.
Hey, man, first and foremost, thank you so much for that amazing introduction, and then the opportunity and the platform to be able to be here and speak, speak to everybody tonight. And then let me also give it up to everybody on the panel. Those were some amazing testimonies, man. And thank you, to everybody that's serving on the front line, our nurse, the other gentleman that's distributing medicine and things like that. I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So a little bit about me, man. I also went to school, and I got a college degree from Florida State University, and served about 12 years in the retail industry from an asset protections perspective. So some of the big companies out there, Macy's, Kohl's, some of those big brands, man. If you can think of it, I probably worked for them and probably set some records, in those companies. And then about the last 5 years, I've been in the automotive finance industry as a customer experience supervisor. But one thing that happened, something that really happened, for me when it comes to the Wealth Max perspective, every single day that I was going into any of those companies that I was just talking about, I was building somebody else's wealth. right? And so I was able to partner with WealthMax after being a part of Making Wealth Real Financial since October. And I got with with the person from the WealthMax perspective, and they introduced me to something called a private reserve account. Now, up to this point, I had never heard anything about a private reserve account. I was probably like millions upon millions of Americans. I knew everything about a 401k, an IRA, a CD, some stocks, dividends, things like that. But I had never heard anything about a private reserve account. And so during the consultation, I was like so many other people. I don't know why, but I was so nervous about talking about wealth, right? And it seems like that's the topic that for whatever reason scares like a lot of people. But the conversation was so intimate, right? Like he pulled up, he shared a screen with me, and him, myself, and my wife, and we sat down and we went through this webinar, and he explained everything about the private reserve account to me. One of the things that really stuck out to me and really got me excited was I could never lose money in a private reserve account. And so another thing that actually stood out to me was I asked him a question. I said, well, how come more people don't know about this private reserve account since it seems to be something that's so great? And he said, well, in most cases, you have to be a qualified investor to kind of get access to information like this. And that means that people have to have $250,000 net worth. And so it made me feel really good to know that I was a part of something, to not have $250,000 net worth, but to be able to get access to this private reserve account. One of the great benefits about it is I now become the bank. So if I want to purchase a car, I can actually purchase the car from our private reserve account and then pay myself the interest back, man. So, hey, man, the smiles just show just how amazing the private reserve account is.
Right. So I don't got to ask you how you feel, brother. It's evident that you feel amazing, man, because you got something in place. And did y'all hear him say that he can't lose money? Right? We're in an uncertain time right now. I want you guys to imagine this. Somebody at the beginning of March, late February, was thinking to themselves, I'm 5 years from retirement. My 401k is looking good. I'm 1 year from retirement. Hey, I'm about to retire at the end of this year. My 401k is looking good. I'm not going to outlive my money. But then Corona happened.
Right.
And their 401k shrank by 50%, 60%, 70%. Can you imagine being that close to the finish line and you've done everything right that you were told to do, and now somebody says, you can't retire in 3 years? Right. You can't retire in a year. You can't retire in 5 years. It's going to take you another 20 years of working to recover what you lost. But this man said a private reserve account, you can't lose money. Man, that is amazing. Listen, guys. Listen, if you've heard enough, then make sure you get back with the person who introduced you to this page and this Wealthathon, and they will tell you all that you need to know, answer all your questions to get this thing going. But we're not done, man, because as a good broadcaster is known to do, I just teased y'all with the first round. Now these guys are going to hit you with some more amazing stats, because Miss Felicia didn't tell you how much of a pay raise she gave to herself. So let me bring Miss Felicia back out and tell them, when you gave yourself that pay raise, were you generous or did you give yourself a few pennies?
I gave myself a whole lot, and I'm proud to say I will do it again and again. But I actually got over $750 increase to myself back into my home. So You can't tell me, and I tell everybody, I paid a lot in taxes. I paid my fair share, but this is money that is mine and I get to keep, and I'm going to work hard to keep it. So they can't get it back. This is all mine.
Yeah. Now talk from a wife's perspective, and we know that one of the, and I, as a husband, I know without even trying to, when money starts getting tight, you start getting a little agitated with the people you live with, right? Kids better not ask me nothing. Talk about the weight that an extra $700 in your household lifts from you, and how it makes you a little bit lighter?
Man, listen, before we were able to get by, we were able to live and sustain, but now we're able to give. I was able to actually have my kids ask for things and not say, wait till the weekend. All right, you can have it. I'm not going to overindulge or spoil them any more than they already are. But it makes a big difference to be able to say, we can now go on this vacation and not have to worry about using a credit card. We can plan for things in the future without having to worry about where am I going to get the money from, or where are we going to steal from Peter to pay Paul at just to get this so we can have this, which we had come accustomed to. It was a way of life. I'm really good at it. But we always maintained. And I thank God, me and my husband now were able to build together. We have a little bit of extra. That put a really big blessing, and it relieved the cloud that was there over the week to week things. You know what I mean? So now we have a little bit more to sustain and actually go to the next week without worrying about we got to cut back on the spending because we're getting kind of short. Now we're not short, which is a big blessing.
And that's where arguments and stuff come from. But
Absolutely.
also, tell me this. Was it your homeboy or your homegirl that told you how to do your W-4, or did you talk to some professionals?
It was professional. They were very professional. The professionalism that the system created and was allowed me to deal with was a blessing. They didn't ask me no redundancy. They responded right away. They gave me the information I needed. The format was done for me. All I had to do was print it. Print the information and submit it. Who can't do that? There was nothing wrong. There was nothing crazy. I didn't have to figure out no math. I didn't have to add nothing. I had to just simply hit print.
Gotcha. So ease of use. Guys, I want you to think about that as we're getting ready to wrap this thing up. One of the components of having a very viable business is ease of use, right? And it sounds like they made it very easy for you to use the system and give yourself a $750 per month pay raise, right? That's amazing, amazing. So kudos to you. You talked about not saying no to your children, and I'm going to speak to the fathers out there and the men out there, because there's nothing like having to tell my kids no, not because they don't deserve something, right? If you bad in school and I can tell you, no, you're not getting a PlayStation, that's easy, right? But what about when they deserve it? And then you have to tell them no because you can't afford it. Man, nothing hurts my heart more than that. And to be able to have access to unlimited access, I might add, to professionals to help you legally, ethically, and morally minimize your taxes, that is a game changer. Now, let's move back to Credit Max really, really quickly, because Javon broke the internet when he said his credit score went up 100 points in 2 weeks, right? Well, guess what? That's not all. So, Brother Javon, you want to do us a favor and continue with your testimony, man? After it went up 100 points in those 2 weeks, how did that make you feel? And then what happened just a couple months later?
Man, after it went up 100 points 2 weeks later, after I submitted my information, I felt real good about it, and my belief in the Credit Max system got real high. Okay. So next thing you know, forward to January, I get another notification saying, hey, your credit score has increased another 73 points.
Wait a minute. I'm not a mathematician, but my mental math says 100 plus 73 from end of November to January, 173 points in less than 90 days, bro. That's amazing. But I think it gets even better with you, right?
Yeah, man. So we gonna go ahead and forward to last month in the middle of March, where my credit score increased another 35 points. Wow. So within like a 3-month span, my credit score increased a total of 208 points.
Woo-wee! So let me ask you this real quick. Did you have any reservation whatsoever when you were first introduced to MWR Financial? Did you have any reservation? Were you kind of like, I'm not quite sure?
Yeah, but man, when I submitted my info and the proof was in the pudding, it made me a believer. It made me a believer, a strong believer, and
Yes,
nobody
sir.
can tell me different. Nobody
Awesome.
can tell me different.
Awesome. I love that testimony, man, because we've all been there, right? Some of you guys are thinking right now, man, this sounds really good. Man, I know that taxes is killing my check. I know that these credit cards, I don't have the best interest rate on these credit cards. I know I shouldn't be using them as an emergency fund, but it is what it is. I'm stuck. And you're thinking about whatever these guys got going on, I want to be a part of it. But then you got that reservation, right? Well, listen, brother had the same reservation, but something deep down inside gave him the gumption to pull the trigger, and 208-point credit score increase later in roughly 90 days. He's glad he made that decision. So you guys make sure you get with whoever tagged you in this video, whatever watch party you watching, man, make sure you ask those people how you can be down. Right now, I told y'all we wasn't done, right? So we talked. Taxes got even better with a $750 per month pay raise. Credit got even better, 100-point increase. Turn around 2 months later, another 73-point increase, and then another 35-point increase. See, he submitted his stuff and he went on about his life. He's still trying to make sure he get these deliveries to these hospitals so they got medicine for corona. And guess what? The team is still working on his credit, right? What about my man, Richard Hart? He already paid off $67,000 worth of credit cards with the same money, y'all. I don't know if y'all got that. He didn't say he had to go pick up a second job to pay down that $67,000. He said he talked to some professionals. They helped him understand how to be laser focused on getting rid of his debt, and he paid down $67,000, right? I'm going to bring my man back up, man, because that ain't all to the story, right?
Not at all. Not at all. And it's, it's the exciting thing of watching, like, this is the reverse of the vicious cycle that we were in before. So anybody that's watching this video and saying, man, I really wish I hadn't gotten in the debt that I got in. You can't change the past, but you can definitely change the future if you take different steps going forward. And so that's what I did. I had to take an honest look at my life and say, fact of the matter is, we owe a total of $750,000. And we have given our lives. We've given money we hadn't even earned yet to pay it off. But by having a plan, because that's what my mentor said. He said that if you don't have a plan for your money, somebody else does. And guess what they got planned for you? Not much. They got a plan to keep you working forever, and that's where their profit comes in. But with Equity Max, looking at the difference in the interest that I'll pay over time by accelerating the payment, being focused in the delivery, and being accountable to the statements they send me every month, same money, just reapplied with focus, will save $250,000 in interest payments. Now, what is interest? It's the penalty I paid for buying stuff I couldn't afford. So if $250,000 can go to their account or your account, where would you want it to go? So that's what we did. And now here's where it gets even better. If I'm debt free in 8 years with the same money and I start investing that with reasonable returns, you remember I told you they said I would be paying my payments until 2044, 24 years. If I take that same money and invest it modestly, by 2035, I have $1 million more in the bank. I'm not saying I got $1 million now, but a debt-free millionaire. Imagine how you would feel if you didn't owe anybody anything.
Yeah.
But beyond not owing anybody anything, you had $1 million for generations, right? Now we're starting to talk about money that not only do you not need, but your kids and your kids' kids. Now we're really talking about generational wealth, talking about doing the things and being the banks for our community. And that's the most powerful feeling there is. It goes beyond some breathing room and some money. Now we're doing next level stuff. All we got to do, be focused and intentional and get some help. It's not your fault if you don't know, but it is your fault if you know now and don't get some help.
There you go. Listen, man, he might have just scared some of y'all off right now because you're thinking, wait a minute, I done learned today, so now I can't unlearn, right? Some of y'all wishing y'all wouldn't have scrambled these eggs tonight, right? Because you can't unscramble the eggs, man. Now that you know that there is a solution, you got to do something with this information, man. See, what we have to understand is I tell people all the time, man, it's not that you not building wealth. You are a tremendous amount of it at that. You just building it for somebody else's family, right? We got to turn that thing around. He said he'll save $250,000. I'm still stuck on with the same money. He didn't have to go increase his budget. He got the same money already allocated to his debts, but now he's going to be out of debt in a third of the time. See, their plan is to keep you working, and it all works together, y'all, because the banks will get you in debt because the corporations need employees. So as long as you're in debt, you're going to work a job that you might not necessarily like because you got to pay for that stuff. All we saying is, look, there's a better way. It wasn't your fault. We got a credit system, an educational system, a tax system that is not favorable to the common person. That's why I brought you some very uncommon people to show some real examples of what you can do when you get in your pocket the same experts that all wealthy people do, right? Challenge me on this. Does every wealthy person you know have a professional, licensed, certified wealth strategist in their back pocket on speed dial? Absolutely. Does every wealthy person you know, starting from our president on down, he said not paying taxes makes me smart. Does every wealthy person you know have a tax strategist on speed dial? You better believe it, right? Do they understand the rules of credit? Do they understand how to leverage credit to build wealth and buy assets? Yes. Come on now.
Yes, I almost cursed.
Don't be cussing, man. We got the babies is watching. Don't be cussing. Listen, man, we're gonna wrap this thing up briefly, but I want you to stick around for just a few more minutes because I told you I only teased y'all with the first half. Brother Don has got another wealth strategy that he probably didn't know about until he sat down with these professionals. Now he's got that on track. So, Brother Don, they got you with your private reserve account. What else have they helped you with in terms of laying the foundation for building that massive legacy, brother?
Absolutely. So, once we figured out everything from the private reserve perspective, I ended up scheduling a second consultation about 3-4 weeks later with my WealthMax representative, and he introduced me to something called land banking. And so at the time, again, I was like, man, why do I schedule these consultations? And then I feel kind of crazy because I don't know anything about any of this stuff. The great part about that was he didn't make me feel, I didn't feel like a moron. He didn't make me feel stupid for any questions that I asked. I asked my questions and he answered them for me. Yeah. The most important part about land banking is this, guys. You have to think about this and you have to get this. They are not making any more land. We can put more buildings up. We can build more cars. We just cannot build more land. And so I purchased some land outside of Los Angeles in Palmdale, California. And it is being built to be the energy capital of America, right? And so what got me is he said, well, Richard Branson is investing money here. Warren Buffett just invested $300 million, into this. And so when I looked up and I said, well, little old me owns some land where Richard Branson, the Virgin Mobile Empire, and
Right.
Warren Buffett, the mogul, the guru, the genius that he is, well, these guys have their money. I was like, oh man, this is a no-brainer. And so, you know, you purchase this land, and you see Walmart and hospitals and communities and houses and things like this start to go up. They'll come back and purchase the land back for me anywhere between 7 to 10 years. And the amount of money that I have the opportunity to make off of what I initially invested in is priceless, man. Like, it is just straight up priceless. And again, to think, I didn't know anything about land banking 5 months ago. And now when we talk about building wealth, my picture will be on the mantle somewhere in my house, or my great grandkids will be eating off of the decisions that I made back in October 2019. So it's just absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
That's a beautiful way to put it, guys. So let me do this, man. I want you guys to write this number down right now. It is 563-999-2384. Write this number down, 563-999-2384. And here's the PIN code that you're going to need, because this is a private call that I want to invite you to here in a second. The PIN code is 543076. Again, that PIN code 543076. Listen, guys, you heard some amazing testimonies here about what it takes to build generational wealth, what it takes to transform your situation, no matter what that situation is right now. We literally have people from all walks of life getting the financial education that they need once and for all. But here's the bigger picture that you got to understand. To really bring this all home, at the end of the day, man, this economy caters to people who are business owners, landowners, and investors, right? There's an entirely separate tax code devoted to these people. Well, until most of us got with MWR Financial, we didn't even think about being landowners, right? Most of us come from backgrounds where we're living check to check, so we weren't thinking about investing. But you know what you can do, each and every single one of you? Take the gifts, talents, and special abilities that God gave you and turn them into a business, right? Why? Because it lets you legally, ethically, and morally lower your tax liability. And if that's your biggest expense, imagine bringing a third of your money that's escaping you right now back into your household. Then strategically using that money to build you an emergency fund, get out of debt, and then start investing, right? Imagine not having any debt. What would that make you feel like? Even if you didn't make any more money, you just got zero debt. That's a game changer. So the MWR Financial opportunity is twofold. It is financial education and access to services and service professionals that everyone trying to build wealth needs access to, right? And you can get with the person who got you on this webinar, this wealthathon, this watch party tonight, and ask them about the Financial Edge membership. But the Financial Edge membership alone will only take you so far. You need the other piece, and we offer that as well. That is a business opportunity in a high demand niche with easy to use services, with the ability to have professional sales materials already for you, an accountability team, strong leadership. Guys, all of that can be found right here with MWR Financial. And if you at any time in your life have been thinking about the power of entrepreneurship, I know you have to be thinking about it even more today because of the situation that we're living in. Everybody is at home. Uncertainty is everywhere. Most of us don't know if there'll be a job for us when this thing is over, right? Well, you can take a small investment tonight and change that situation forever, right? Offering something that it's different to have a product and service that people need, right? And I don't want to fat shame anyone, but there's a lot of people who need to lose weight, but they're not, right? Because they just don't want to. But then to have a product and service that people want every day on Google and YouTube, 1 million people go and put in the search engine how to make money from home, how to fix my credit, how to get out of debt, how to build wealth. All of that is available. They're looking, they're hungry, and all you got to do is position yourself to be found. And we can teach you how to do that. In fact, we're going to teach you how to do that on a private call tomorrow. That's why I told you to write that number down. Here it is again, 563-999-2384. PIN code 543076. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to be down with a group of people who are serious about their financial health, you want to be on that call tomorrow. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank my esteemed guest. I appreciate you. I got so much inspiration from your testimonies. I know without a shadow of a doubt, you blessed a lot of people. We're going to sign off. Get back with the person who got you on this webinar. Let them know that you need to be down with the MWR financial opportunity. And they'll answer your questions and get you plugged into the system. Until we talk to you guys next time, we want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it. Each and every single one of you. Now hustle up.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night, y'all.